is nothing we're gonna miss. Gonna miss.
Echoes of your words crashing into me. Drown me in your lies, and there's no way to breathe. And my walls will keep you down. I am safe without the sound of you around. It's getting colder, and I'm the storm that's taking over.
Howdy, how's it going, guys? All right, I think that's about as loud as the music volume will get. Hopefully it's not too bad. I've adjusted it a few times the last couple times that I've streamed, and honestly, probably, I just built my new rig, so soon the rig that's here is gonna move over. And the one that was my main rig is gonna move over here and do all the encoding work. Maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, hopefully the sound is good. It's good to see you guys on. Oh, there's a few people already here. Cool, thanks guys. Appreciate you coming in and watching. I know Pop Clock's gotta be going on right now, so you know, I would expect that a bunch of people are doing that. I don't usually stream during their thing. Normally, normally I'm a Wednesday night thing, but tonight we can actually kind of get started, and I will show you guys what we're gonna do. Sorry, I'm trying to do. There we go. That's what I'm trying to look for. Anyway, tonight we can build this KBD 8X. It's a purple one. So this is a round 2, not a Mark 2. It's a Mark 1. And actually, it's a beautiful board. It's pretty hefty too, even without. I mean, it's heavier than this. It's probably about the same weight as this board complete, but by itself, no, I think it's a little heavier. I'm actually curious, because I'm going to refer back to this video, because I'm curious when I get my round 2 in polycarb, and there will be some other people's that I'll build. Oof. Lube on there? Anyway, I'll be curious as to what it weighs comparatively. Yeah, I mean, this is 4 pounds, 4.6 ounces, 4.5 ounces, whatever, like without the PCB and the plate and everything in it. It's actually pretty impressive. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this thing built, and then seeing a Mark II also, because that'll happen soon. I think those are supposed to ship right around this time. Anyway, so the customer who requested this board was like super detailed. He was like, this is what I want to do. That's pretty wild. I'm happy the customer went all in on the details, really wanted this thing, I guess. Whoever built it, he didn't want to mess it up, which is awesome. I approve, because usually I have a lot more questions. Took a lot of the guesswork out of it for me this time. So anyway, a little earlier, I lubed the customer's switches, the ones he wanted lubed. So there's some Gatoron greens and some Gatoron blacks, some ergo clears, and like a single mod SH in here. So these didn't get lubed. Hey Heine, thanks for subbing, man. How's it going? Good to see you, man. I'm happy that you're here, man. I'm happy that you're here. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, customers getting lubed ergo clears and everything else is not lubed, as per request. How you been, Heine? I'm curious. What have you been up to, man? I see pictures and stuff sometimes, and it makes me real happy of upcoming stuff of yours. teasers in the HBCP channel and stuff like that. Oof. I know you were saying you were out a bunch lately. Hopefully you're getting some time to just relax. Super busy with H87 shipping. Yeah, last one's going out tonight. Congratulations, man. Seriously. Hey man, I'm ready for it whenever you are, but I'm not trying to rush you. Good things come to people who are patient. But I will say that if it somehow arrives before I leave, which I think I leave, I can't remember if I leave Thursday or Friday, but either way, if it arrives before I go to Seattle, I'll be 100% down to build it, even if it's kind of a last minute thing. Wow, that is a deep-seated. Wow, that's crazy. So this notch set, I need to get some Weehas. This notch set has a very deep socketed thin section, or thin shaft, or shank, whatever. And it goes like this, the hole in this top piece. Oh, there we go. Goes all the way almost to that, where it's almost touching that part of the board. It's crazy. And not quite. It's not gonna scratch it, but it's real close. It's the weekend after this coming one. Yeah, I don't expect it, man. I know you're really busy, so take your time, do your thing. I am stoked though for when it does come. I have a feeling it's gonna be one of my favorite boards ever. It's just, you know, it's the right layout. I know that your attention to detail and quality is high. Plus QMK. All these things are gonna be good, man. You need to find a box. Yeah, it probably doesn't fit in the same box as the H87 boards. I mean, I know it doesn't. I'm just joking, but but I imagine you have tons of those. More of those than you probably know what to do with at this point. Man, these... Okay, so I love KBD Fans products. Price for what you get is amazing. That box is 16 by 8 by 3. But the foam you'd ship HBCP is 18. Yeah, and that makes sense. I don't know, man. I know I have a box that would fit it. Whatever, man. You know how it goes. Like, whatever you got, whatever that you can make work, I will take it. And I know it'll be. It's funny, I have a lot of customers that ship me stuff in like way bigger boxes than is required with just a ton of packing material. So I prefer that to the alternative, which is not enough packing material and things get damaged. But like, I've shipped a couple boards back in customer packaging from just like, this is like a $65 shipping charge to go like, you know, a couple 100 miles sometimes. Try it, man, but I'm not trying to stress you out for it. But if it does make it out, I will bring it with me to Seattle for sure. If it makes it here in time for me to build it, and I'll even do it kind of last minute. Yeah, try, man, but no, seriously, no pressure. Yeah, so I get it. Let me know what the shipping costs, and I don't think that was included yet, right? Whatever. If it costs more or whatever, or if we didn't already pay for that, which I think we might not have, hit me up. So what I was gonna say about the products that these guys make, yeah, whatever it costs, man. I'm good for that. I get how shipping goes. I do it at least once a week for keyboards. So the thing that I love about these boards is they're quality for what you pay. Even this KBD8X round 1, or it's not round 1, it's round 2, but it's V1. Like, I like the way the top will click in here and everything, but there's certain things that I dislike about it. Like the screw hole size and the thread pitch is just like asking for stripped screws. Like, it's a very small screw hole and the thread pitch is super fine. Like, it didn't need to be that fine. And the pocket is deep enough that, honestly, unless you have some kind of a thin shanked deep screwdriver, like, you're gonna scratch that hole. In fact, I mean, this is the shallow side, so I know that I didn't scratch it, but that hole, the edge is broken wrong. Like, the inside of it is scratched out, right? I'll zoom in. I'm sure this, I mean, I know it came this way from the customer, but still hurts me, right? To see that. Like, you see that silver on the inside there? Like, where it scratched the ano off? Not all of them have that. But most screwdriver sets don't have I think this is where I want, yeah. Yeah, I mean, those little tiny details are things that kind of drive me a little crazy sometimes. KBD fans, those little tiny things. Bad news bears. Don't do it. Anyway. So I'm gonna throw the feet on here so we don't scratch this up. And then then we'll push the case off and we won't deal with it for a little while. We won't. Yeah, if anybody hates my music or something, you know, just let me know and I will change it up. All right, that's what I wanted. Okay. Sorry, I was just making sure switch hitter was up and stuff because we're going to be using that real soon. So I think the bump-ons, were they not in here? Oh, they're in here. Yeah, so we're going to be obviously using LEDs. I don't even know what color customer provided LEDs are, but we're going to find out. Hopefully there's something cool. Purple. I don't know what key set he has in mind. I don't have that. I would offer up my suggestions on what key sets I think that I have that would look good on this for when we are done with it, but I don't even know what color LEDs will be in there. That doesn't necessarily matter. I'm hoping, because this is actually a nice case, and for the prices that these were, it was good. But I'm hoping that KBD8X Mark II is just like shifts the paradigm for KBD fans to even better, even higher quality. Though I think there's very small profit going on that board. So it's probably unrealistic to expect that as a manufacturing cost from them again for a similar board. All right. Cool. Good. Set that off to the side. Nice. Right there. All right, well, we're gonna test this out real quick. before we go all in depth on this. And there were no LEDs on this one anyway, so. Why would I be doing that? Oh, helps if I do that. So we'll do that again. Test this out real quick. Lubricate and get our stabilizers all ready. And then get to soldering. These are usually a little bit longer builds when I have to do in-switch LEDs, but I don't think it's going to be too bad tonight. So I'm curious to anybody out there, did you guys get anything in the last couple weeks that you're particularly proud of or excited about? I got somebody else's DSA Borealis set, which is interesting. Not really my jam, but I think it looks nice anyway. I got GMK Shoko in, which I am certainly into. Oh, I guess we're doing stepped, right? GMK Shoko is nice. Eco Dragon, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, next row. What's going on? Man, these pads, the pads that are exposed here are very large. I will say that. I guess we'll test all of them, but all right. Lol. Yeah, that's the DSA Borealis right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. It looks nice, actually. I think it looks good. All right. We'll get rid of that for the time being. And we will. Again, look at that, man. Customer, such a good job. Such a good job, customer. I approve. You know, this image looks like it's DSA caps. I wonder if the customer is using DSA caps even. So curious. No docs. Customer's username. No personally identifiable information on there. I hope. No, there isn't. Although, you're right. I try and make sure I never do that. Hopefully, he's not been out of shape. I will remove the video if he is. And re-upload it without that section. Although, customer said that he was going to try and comment and stuff tonight, so I don't think it's going to matter. Whoa, that's far too many stabilizers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do, 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 do. You're back. $10 points to Gryffindor. Are these for spacers or are these just washers for his? They must be washers for the stabilizers. Anyway, let's get our stabilizer working stuff out. Use this cutting mat. Trying to remember, I'm trying to remember what I'm going to do next week. So I actually have been kind of letting my customer board pile run out. This is the last customer build I have actually scheduled right now that I currently have on hand. There are some other customers that I've talked to will be sending things in, but next week, well, depending on what I receive, this may change. But if I don't receive anything on by my stream date, I will be rebuilding my own TX 1800, or I will build the Punchy 1800. I have not received a new top for it. Have not received a new top for it yet, though it's promised. And I'll let anybody who's around decide when that happens. Or if I receive something like HBCP, of course I'll build that. But I doubt that'll happen by Wednesday. Like, even if Heine is able to ship it out Monday, I think it would, well, it could be. Depends. Really does depend. Could be Thursday that it would arrive. I'm trying to remember when my flight is. Pretty sure it's Friday. Spacing on all the details at the moment. Fairly certain it's Friday. Anyway, yeah, so let's clip these bad boys. Should really pre-clip. I have done that before streams where I had pre-clipped a bunch of pre-clipped stabilizer inserts and pre-cut band-aids, although we're not band-aid modding this board. All sorts of stuff like that. It does save a little bit of time because it's a little bit easier if I, not just easier, it's somewhat time consuming, right? You set everything up, you get it all lined up, you get everything set up to lube. So it is a little bit quicker if I just do a bunch all at once. But a lot of times it's customer provided. It's their parts that they bought. I didn't buy them for them. If I were buying all the parts for customers, for every customer or something, then it would be easy. But I don't want to do that, right? I'm not trying to stock a bunch of stuff for everybody. It's really not the paradigm I'm going for. I don't know. I mean, I do keep certain things on hand that do benefit customers, but it's usually because they're things that I want to have on hand anyway for my own keyboard building needs. I wonder if I'll look at who's in, because so no, one of my friends is not watching, but I have talked to a friend about getting some resin printing stuff and trying to do some like truly custom keycap sets with real high resolution 3D printing tech. And I don't know, that could be kind of cool. Even doing double resin prints to get legends in different colors. So there's some promising stuff that may come up in the future. I don't know if I did that kind of stuff, I wouldn't stream at least the printing part because it would be hours and hours and hours and hours, kind of ridiculous. But you know, it could be promising upcoming stuff that leads to cool, promising upcoming projects to be featured on stream. This is it kind of blows me away how much of this lube I have used, but also how much I haven't used. Like, if you look in here, like, I have like only very barely touched part of that. Everything else has just come off the lid. Time lapse would be neat, and I would do some edited content where I did time lapse of that, of course, because that would just look freaking awesome. But I wouldn't. I mean, some of the print times for some of the stuff I was looking at was like, if you go like with highest possible resolutions, was like 19 hours, unless you're willing to spend amounts of money on printers that are just unreasonable for any hobbyist. Or even if you were doing, well, if you were doing production work where you were selling a bunch of these key sets or something, then maybe you could afford to have ones that are really fast. But those resin printers, they're just not the fastest things ever. I don't know why I moved that insert first. Yeah, resin printing is pricey. The tech is, if you want fast ones. Getting more accessible though. I mean, if we did that kind of thing, we probably would sell some. But for me, it would be more about, I think it would probably be more tied to these kinds of builds, right? Where it'd just be like super boutique build where you want the thing to look exactly the way you want it to work. And we're doing like a whole build stream with it and all that stuff. I mean, I haven't really thought about monetization of it and turning it into business stuff. I like this thing that I do because I get to handle all the cool boards. But I mean, I have a bunch of other stuff going on in my world that takes up a bunch of my time. I take my work fairly serious. And I mean, I'll be traveling some coming up. I have recently, like, this, committing to this stream even regularly is, you know, it's already kind of enough of a commitment to me in that way. I mean, I know 3D printers, you like kind of set them and forget them for a while, but there's then there's a bunch of prep work and stuff for those parts before they're ready for like use, if you're going to use them mechanically or something. But I'd be down, I mean, to do them for cool projects. It's interesting. A lot of the people that I have contact me, yeah, no problem, man. A lot of the folks that I have contact me want fairly simple kit builds made. You know, like this one, where they're pretty nice. They're not an insignificant cost, you know? I mean, frankly, our hobby is pretty pricey. Like, we're not doing super high quantities of the production, plus the materials are fairly expensive when coupled with machine time for them. But I have had a couple people over time hit me up to talk to me about truly weird restorations or builds that are really, really, really crazy, and I have yet to like execute one with somebody. And that's kind of like a thing I'd like to do to some extent, and I think that that thing I was just talking about would kind of open up that avenue in a way. So yeah, sorry I couldn't be here for you guys yesterday. Sorry I'm streaming on Top Clack night. I try not to do that because, well, one, I like to watch Top Clack, but two, I don't want it to interfere. I like what they do. I appreciate the journalistic aspect of the Keeb community. But I just couldn't make last night, so, or the night before, or the night before, because I was traveling for business. So this is the night that I was available to do my stream. Yeah. So I don't know what I was talking about before with resin printing or whatever. I think that it's a pretty promising avenue. Like, I don't want to give up too much, but I got a buddy who's pretty into 3D printing, and we were discussing that thing for the purposes of keyboard related things. And I think that the community has not been... There have been some community 3D printed things, but our community hasn't latched on to trying to harness that tech for some things that they probably could. It's a pretty good effect. All right. I'm actually surprised we're like, are we 43 minutes in? That's pretty short, actually, for already being up with the stabilizer lubing portion of the build. I feel like, have I been going slow? Fast. I should really like watch some of these videos and time myself. I mean, this isn't really about going quickly, but I'm curious about it. Do you think I don't think I'd get into... You mean like routinely manufacturing? So the only situation in which I would do that is if I had, and I really do want one day to have a VMC to do my own projects. If I had a VMC vertical milling center. An end mill, a vertical end mill, basically, that's CNC controlled and only made for automation, really. Like, manual controls are actually really cumbersome on VMCs. If I had a VMC, I would totally go into manufacturing boards for the community. I don't know if I would sell them all direct and run the buys myself. That would actually be kind of a lot of work to do all of that. But maybe for people who wanted to manu boards or have them done, I would do it. I don't know. The thing is that my time cost would almost not be able to be competitive with China, right? Like, unless I were doing a lot of them. Yeah, those things are super pricey. You're correct. They are crazy pricey. VMCs. Even, I mean, you can find really good used deals sometimes, like 8-9 grand. There are like eBay-like websites. I mean, you can even find them on eBay, I think, but like, I've seen a Haas VF1 for like 9 grand. I know of some people that bought a Haas VF6 with 1,100 hours of spindle time, which is low. Relatively low. Pretty low. For 15 grand. Which is crazy good deal. So there are deals to be found sometimes, but that's still a lot of money. I mean, I don't know what a new VF6 costs, but I'm guessing it's like 170 grand with a tool changer, maybe 180, 200. That's like purely off the cuff. I'm probably grossly wrong, but like way a thing I couldn't afford. No, it's not normal people. Yeah, so 8 or 9, that's still not regular people pocket change, right? Like, that would be a huge investment. But the only circumstance in which I would do that, I want one day. I mean, I'm not saying I won't have to save up. It's like buying an extra car. But I would like one. You know, I mean, some people are into woodworking and have crazy woodworking shops or whatever that they build over time. They get crazy amounts of woodworking stuff. And getting a VMC for metalworking is like buying all of that equipment all at once. Not slow over time and such. And actually, the VMC isn't even the biggest. It's not even the biggest expense. The tooling will far overshadow it in the long run. But you can kind of, a fair bit of that can be pieced together over time as you need a tool, etc. So that's more like regular people hobbies, expensive regular people hobbies, but most people's regular hobbies, though, don't have the potential to make very complex, expensive things either. If you're really ambitious enough, you could probably find out as you work for an electronics manufacturer, but you don't go work in a facility near a production floor. Yeah, so Haas will let you come take a factory tour. And actually, where I work is talking about making a maker space for employees to use and check out and do cool things. And I submitted a very inexpensive VMC, not a Haas, a Chinese model that's very inexpensive, comparatively. It's still expensive, just very inexpensive in comparison. As a tool for them to put in there I don't know if they'll pull the trigger. I don't know if we'll end up with one. I don't know if we'll end up with access, but if we do, I'm going to use it. I will probably make my own keyboards if that ever happens, and that's a long time out, I think. But if I did, I would make my own, but I wouldn't make production level ones. I mean, it's not really what that space would be for. I don't think they'd be opposed to me using it since it's a makerspace. I don't think they'd be opposed to me using it in that way, but just seems like a thing not to do with something your work is providing you. If they were charging for like access to it or something, then maybe. I don't know though. I mean, you have to bring your own tooling to those places a lot, so maybe I would. Can't rightly say. Either way, I don't have access to that kind of thing now. There are some makerspaces, like maybe 100 miles from where I live, that I've thought about trying to become a part of. They have mills and lathes, but they don't let you use their VMC directly. Like, you have to give somebody models and they do work on it, make sure that, or they do the cam work, so converting your model or whatever into tool pathing and stuff like that for the machine to run, you know, and they make sure that those paths aren't going to crash the machine. Crash is like if the milling head or bit or tool that's attached to it crashes into a part of the machine because of the pathing you told it to do, right? It's very bad and things are very likely to break. Anyway, you know, they don't want you to crash their crazy expensive machine, so that's how they handle it. Raspberry Pis for everyone. No, so there is a Raspberry Pi CNC control head. I'm trying to. I looked it up once. The thing is, though, is that Raspberry Pi CNC control stuff, it doesn't, like, it basically, you can make your own VMC. That would be very difficult. Or your own. A lot of people will make CNC routers because the amount of, you can make them out of all sorts of things, like light metals or even wood or acrylic, and even like a really nice one that you were going to use for production level work wouldn't have to be super sturdy compared to a milling machine made for milling metal, right? Because the material that it's cutting through is so much more, it's so much less hard to cut through than metal. Wood is, anyway, right? Or acrylic, stuff like that, that you're just not worried about the machine flexing enough to throw off your tolerances. Plus, you're usually not making things with tolerances so tight that, you know, it warrants having that much resolution or that tight of a tolerance, rather, I guess is the right way to say that, for sure. So, anyway, the machines that use that are usually like homebrew type things that are not VMCs, and so they use that kind of software. And even then, that Raspberry Pi is usually hooked up to a to something with much higher with a much higher operating frequency or update rate, basically. So the Raspberry Pi, its I/O pins, I don't know what frequency they can pull at, but it's nowhere as high normally without some other kind of external thing attached to it as like an Arduino or something. So usually I think when people do that Raspberry Pi control software, what they do is they plug it into an Arduino, and then they program those Arduinos to do the actual commands, right? Because they're going to be able to send commands at the proper rates. Because, right, think about making like a radius cut in metal or even wood or anything, right? Like if you have if you're trying to cut this circle, right, around this, you can't actually make a complete circle with an X, Y, and a Z motor. You're actually making a bunch of little tiny straight lines. You really are. So each motor is stepping a very small amount, or is reduced in a way that it moves a very small amount. Usually they're stepper motors though. Really trick machines use, I think they actually use really high torque servos. But either way, homebrew people are gonna use stepper motors. And yeah, so they need that higher polling rate and that higher command rate of the Arduino. Whatever, I'm getting too far into the weeds and then not explaining it enough because I'm focusing on this. For anybody that can actually follow and actually knows like more anything legitimately about this, they'd probably be like, come on dude, you're not saying it right. Whatever, I'm not gonna go in that much detail. Suffice it to say, it's complex to set up your own, and I have considered doing that. So buying an old manual milling machine and then putting motors on it and making a homebrew. But in that case, it would really be for fun. It would not be for production level work, right? Like if you wanted to do production level work where you're making boards for, you know, the community, you're going to want to buy something like a Haas VF1 or Super Mini or something like that. Whatever. There's all sorts of stuff, but you're not going to want to do it with a tool like I'm talking about. You could, but you wouldn't be able to do it for the same duration, with the same number of spindle hours, the same longevity. That machine would not last. Even an old 60s crazy workhorse of a machine that you modernize that way wouldn't be able to keep up. They have newer machines have features, I'll say, without going into too much detail, that make them easier to maintain when they start falling out of spec. They're set up for that kind of production work. Like your whole workflow is going to be way more efficient. They have, you know, integrated lubricant dispensers and stuff like that. It's just super complex comparatively, and much better. That's why we have so much more complex machined parts in the modern world than we did like as long ago as the 60s, 70s, even 80s, right? Like CNC stuff in earnest started coming around in production work, started coming around in the 80s or 90s even. Like I think Haas is a mid to late 80s company, and they were the ones who kind of drove that whole revolution with the original VF1s. I'm sure somebody else knows something about this. Heine, are you around? I'm sure you know something about this. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, we don't need a history lesson in it, I guess. Needless to say, machining technology has come leaps and bounds from where it was. Within some people in this chat room's lifetimes, I'm sure. In fact, even if you're young and you're in here, it's been getting better and better. Some of the techniques haven't improved but the tools that allow application of those techniques in consistent, rapid, automated ways has, yeah. And I mean, now they have like crazy machines, stuff that we don't generally need in our little hobby, but they have crazy machines now that can do really complex things, like, you know, 5-6 axis milling machines, more axes even. Those are crazy expensive. So you can think of like 3 axis, right? So X, Y, and Z. You can move left and right, front to back, and up and down. And then if you had a 4th axis, then the part can also rotate in 1 dimension. And then 5 axis is it can rotate in that dimension, and it can rotate in the in a perpendicular direction, and so on and so forth, right? It keeps going. Yeah, it gets pretty bananas. Depends on what you want to make, right? So this is another reason that things are, some of the boards that we've seen, some are really expensive, right? Like think about Kepler. So from a material standpoint, it's not that much more expensive in raw materials. It is more expensive, and percentage wise it's crazy more expensive to do that whole brass bottom, but it's not like crazy amounts more in materials, right? It's not like $100 more in materials than anything else, but in the machined part, I don't remember if they needed a 4 or a 5 axis milling machine, and there is a big difference in cost between them, but I'm fairly certain they needed at least a 4 axis milling machine to get that compound curve on the bottom piece. When I get one, when I get one, I will talk about it on stream. However, suffice it to say, they needed a very complex machine where machine time is more expensive to do certain parts of that board. Like the top didn't require anything like that for sure. From the images, at least. The build videos that I've seen, it didn't require anything like that. But yes, I just cleaned my hands with isopropyl alcohol, but it's weak alcohol. This is 70% to get that lube off there, not the 99% stuff. That stuff like dries your hands out like nothing else. Anyway, so boards that require crazy machinery to produce cost more, and you know, I mean, that's why what I'm talking about is really relevant to our scene. I mean, we like these boutique boards, but there's a lot that goes into it. But the tech is becoming more and more accessible. Even in America, production like that is becoming more accessible. However, production like that is really expensive here because people's time is worth more here in raw cost. Because the cost of living here is much cheaper and the labor laws are more in favor of, you know, giving people fair wages to do things, to live a good life. We don't get to work people 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, forever for like $3 an hour or anything like that here, right? And we do in China, and that's why manufacturing costs are so much lower there. Production quality is sometimes lower there too, but sometimes not. My understanding is, and I believe this to be the case, is that for things like what we're doing in the low production quantities, you really have to be on top of a manufacturer. You have to have them continually send pictures, images, close-ups to see what the quality is like to make sure that it's good. And that would be really important. I think personally, if I were going to start manuing boards, I would try to do it here in the US, or I would find someone else to deal with the Chinese who speaks the language or who's used to dealing with Chinese manufacturers to deal with the manufacturer to get the raw machining done. More like 0.3 cents an hour, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so I think what I would do is probably have somebody who deals with the factory probably get a lot of the raw machining done, but not the finish work. So i.e., I wouldn't have them anodize it. I wouldn't have that thing done. I would have that work done here in the US. I can sandblast the stuff, so I would probably handle that part to get the finish the way I want it, and then I would either Cerakote them myself, which I've done before, or I would send them to a shop to have it done, or I would have them anodized by a shop. Though I'm not against anodized things. I like anodized things. I think I would avoid having someone do anodization for me. And I definitely wouldn't ano myself. It's a pain in the ass. I probably would go with a different kind of finish. Something that I like more and that I trust more, but that's a personal preference thing. Either way, I think I would do the finishing work here. Raspberry lime. That's what we're doing tonight. That's what we're doing. Flavored water. Definitely gets the coffee flavor up. All right, so we've got a bunch of lube stabilizers. We've got our layout done. We've got all of our switches lubed and everything's golden. We tested our PCB. So now it's time to install. It's like LaCroix water, yeah, and I actually have some of the LaCroix flavored waters here as well, and I like them. Some of them. This one is called Spindrift. Spindrift. I can't put it up here because you know, it's open. I don't want to pour it all over my desk. Raspberry lime is good, but my favorite flavor that comes in a multi-pack in Costco is the lemon one. It's just really good. Personal preference, I guess. Flavor. Oh, so, flavor. Hint of raspberry and a suggestion of lime. So that actually brings me to my favorite flavored water brand. Somebody's gonna call me a shill, I'm sure. For telling you about my favorite of anything. No, my favorite flavored water is actually Hint water. It's pretty expensive, but my favorite flavor is blackberry, which is kind of universal. I actually like blackberry flavored things. So they make a blackberry flavored water and it's really good, and it's my jam. Jam. Anyway, so we're going to use the customer provided ones. You know what? I want to see if these LEDs are on by default. That would be so good. And then I'd get an idea what color these are. That would be awesome too. Oh, they're white. Well, it'll go with many different options in that case. Ooh. Because the one other complaint I have is that this thing is not. Oh, come on. So I will need to figure out how to turn it on if the default layout has that, because I don't know if what I don't know about this board is what the default layout is. So, wait, is it QMK? No. Sorry, I got like a first soldering project on mechanical keyboards or whatever. Is it a QMK board? Whoa, crazy talk. That's awesome. Is there a default layout? No. Come on, no default layout. I guess I'm making a layout. I guess I should probably show this video of how to make a layout, but I feel like most people know. I should not assume that. So what I'm doing is manually mapping because there's no... Ooh, that's wrong. BBNM. Yeah, I guess it is. Oh, come on, man. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna open it up so you guys can see. Oh God, it's gonna be so hard. Okay, okay. Oof. No, I'm gonna move that all the way down. Yeah, that's irritating. I don't know why it's not capturing it. Come on, capture the display. Oh, I know why it's not capturing it. There we go. Okay. So literally what I'm doing is I'm on the QMK configurator site, selected ANSI, and then I'll show you guys literally how I'm going to do it. Because there's no default layout. Which is irritating, because if there is a default layout, you can just click default and it'll do the thing. If anybody knows a faster way to do this, I'm all ears. Oh, that's really irritating. Okay. No. Come on. Okay, you are gonna be function layer momentary on. So for anybody who doesn't know what this is, go to layer 1, and then layer 1, we're gonna set backlighting on, backlighting off, backlighting brighter, backlighting minus. So yeah. And then we're gonna set this to, I always do this, reset, and then I'll usually set this to debug. Just to make it easy, right? So the reason we're doing that, right? I'm gonna KBD8X GMK, whatever. Compile. So it'll do this thing for a while. I'm gonna minimize that, and then it'll download a file. Unknown keyboard. Why did it just do that? Damn it. Seriously? Oh, that's dirty. So I guess in order to do this one, you literally have to do oh man, come on, don't do that to me. So actually download QMK, which is a pain. Oh, well, it says that positive is the round one on this. So at least there's that. You know what? I'm good with that. I'm actually good with that. If you look right here, above that, there's a positive, positive, positive. So the long leg goes there. Which is the opposite of how it normally is. Well, at least we know that. That's really irritating. So basically, I'm not going to be able to... Oh, you know what? I may be able to... I wonder if the default load for these... See, that square one says positive, though. Well, that's confusing. It's all get out.
Always look to you for a warm embrace that kept me safe and free from harm. These days,
Oh, it said square. So it should actually be that way.
pull me through my darkest
Yeah. So on this one, positive is labeled correctly at least. On the indicators. Yeah, and so the resistors on the positive side, I'm just making sure this all, yeah, and the resistors on the positive side, I'm guessing this is correct, which is fine. I'm gonna be really mad if it doesn't work that way, because I'm actually gonna solder this board up based on that with those LED indicators in. But that's okay, because we're gonna do the soldering right, so removing them would not be like the end of the world. It would be a pain in the ass, but it wouldn't be the end. Is there like, there's gotta be, is there a function layer even on this board? That's really irritating. Sorry guys, I'm just like, yeah, so this did nothing, right? So this has to be a function layer button. So let's see what's on their function layer there. So nothing. Okay, so there are some function layer things on here. So I can see on switch hitter, right, that this down does something. I don't know what that code is. But, oh, it's volume. Yep, it's definitely up. I mean, I guess if I were smart, what I would do is look up default key map for KBD8X. Because I don't want to have to compile the QMK for it directly, manually, although I can do that at this point. I'm not going to do it on screen. So I'll search on their site. Yeah, it doesn't show. So anyway, it's labeled, so we're gonna solder it as labeled, and that's gonna be that. I'll have to check it out for the customer. BBB, what up, man? How you doing? So we are doing, we'll at least solder it together and check it out again in a little bit to see, because we know there's a function layer in that, although we aren't going to be soldering in a function layer switch. Yeah, I'm guessing that this is the one we want. Yeah, that's the only one that's gonna work. For sure the only one that will work. I'm doing okay. I am doing all right, man. I cannot complain. Wish I had the definitive guide to KBD8X round 2, not Mark 2. Like what the default key map was, because there doesn't seem to be one in QMK configurator, unfortunately. Big shocker there, right? Because I would like to activate the LEDs just to make sure that they work, but we may not be able to do that without reprogramming it. And because there's no default load in QMK configurator, we're not using these plastic ones. We're using the ones we normally use because I like them more. Yeah, so we're gonna trust that the board is labeled the way that it's supposed to be, hopefully with any luck. It seems to be labeled the way I would expect it to be, well, backward of the way that I expect it to be, i.e. the anode doesn't go to the square hole, it goes to the round one. But I think that's consistent with what I remember being the case with other KBD fans boards. So it's not that big of a surprise. So I built a new computer recently. I know I talked about it the last time I was on here. Ryzen 3900X. It actually has a 3600X in it right now, but the 3900X is coming tomorrow. What motherboard did I get? I got an X570 board. I got the Asus Crosshair 8 Wi-Fi Hero. So like super nice. Oh yeah, it's coming to me. I mean, I have it. You know what? I will show it off on stream, since people now know it's TSC's board. Yeah, dude, I'll show it off a little bit later. Anyway, if we have time, I'll show it off. How about that? Anyway, and if TSC wants it at the end, we'll do that. Yeah, so the trick is to fall behind the game, not implement all the exploitable stuff. finally catch up using a different way. Big brain plays. Fall behind the game. You mean in processor tech or whatever? So this rig that I'm streaming on is a 2700K. So OG. But my main rig was, before this new 3900X, was a 6850K, I think. With 64 gigs of RAM in that beast. It's crazy because that 64 gigs of DDR4 that was in my PC 3200, I think, that was in, or that is in that old rig of mine, or my previous main rig, cost me less than 32 gigs of DDR4 did for the new system recently. I bought, and I bought very inexpensive high-end memory for that system. I bought Patriot Viper Steel Series or whatever, in DDR4 4400. So really high-end, just really it's a really high-end memory in terms of performance, but very inexpensive. It required a lot of tweaking to get it to work at regular speeds. I'm still not running it at 4400. Don't buy RAM, just download it. Yeah, so the reason that that board had that build had 64 gigs of RAM in it is because I was doing a lot of photo editing at the time. I was doing a lot of Photoshop photo editing, and with like a ton of layers of like the RAWs that I was working. So I have an A7 R2. The RAWs that I work with are like 82 megs a piece. So when they convert to TIFF, so that you can do like smart objects or whatever, they just get to be like, you know, a few hundred megs. And I was doing a bunch of astrophotography where you're merging like 20 or 30 layers of the same shot to average out noise. And it was just like, I've seen Photoshop on that system legitimately just using for a project that I was working on, like 40 gigs of RAM. Like just at one time. So it was just beast mode. So I'm not upset that I built it that way. And so that was in the early days of DDR4, right? Before everybody started using it, and then there was a shortage because not only was everybody using it, but also production went down because of tsunamis, I think. It was like $300 for that 64 gigs of RAM of DDR4. $40 GB easy. Yeah, well, Photoshop may be a pig, and what I was doing may be completely outside the norm for most people. However, it was what I was doing. So it was a reasonable build at the time. And the cost wasn't as outrageous as it is now anyway, so whatever. But, you know, 32 gigs of high-end memory now, cost of the memory that I ended up putting in there, I want to say like $375 maybe. I don't know. You could look up the memory I talked about on Newegg, and I'm sure you could figure it out. Not that it's that big of a deal. Because cryptocurrencies. Secretly, that's what I was doing in the background, right? No. In fact, the only time I've ever mined cryptocurrency was when the system that I'm streaming on right now was new. And it was just to stress it out. So I left it running for like a day, and at the time it made 0.16 bitcoins. Yeah, I sold that way before that bubble went high, though. Way before. It was like $12 a piece or something when I used it, actually. It was dumb. Dumb expensive. It's dumb expensive now. Oh. Are you saying this song is loud? Yeah, I can turn it down. I will turn it down. You know, actually, I have a feeling that what happened is my whole system volume went up. Is that better? Whatever. If I knew then what I know now, I would have just like scrounged up 10 or 20 grand, just like beg, borrow, steal money and dump it into Bitcoin in like 2009 and then just ride it. And I'd be crazy rich, right? But it was a bad investment at the time. It's a bad investment now. I'm not saying it didn't work out, but on paper, it never actually looked like a good investment. So is the volume really low now? Is that better? Because this is back up at 100%. So is it like too loud now? I'll tell you what, if it sounds quiet or loud, you let me know again and I'll change it, because that's not a thing I want. I don't want it to be loud. I'm gonna try and pay attention to that. All right, so that's all done. Now we're gonna do this. So we have like all sorts of different kinds of switches going in on this board, right? We've got GAT greens. Mod SH. GAT blacks. GAT greens. Weird. For the stepped caps. I approve of the stepped caps, but the GAT greens. I don't know. I guess I don't disapprove. I like GAT greens just fine. I think if this were my board and I was gonna do it laid out all different switches like this, I would actually do the arrows personally, the arrows as ergo clears also, given what the customer's trying to do, but there aren't enough ergo clears here to do that, so that is not in fact what we're gonna do. So the customer actually took all these apart and shipped them to me in pieces for me to lube, and actually the one that he used as an example, he had an example. This is why you should always buy at least a few extra, I believe. Always at least a few extra switches, like a 10-pack or something extra. He gave me all those, right? And the one of the ones, because they were all in pieces and all the bottoms are shipped in a bag that was shipped in packing material and everything, the leaf got messed up on one of them, so I had to switch his example out. So this is why you always buy some extras, right? Everything else he sent me at least an extra of. Okay. And then Gap Blacks, wherever those went. Gap Blacks. So, customer told me it was my option to lube his Gap Blacks or not, so like at first he said don't, and then he sent them, and he was like, I don't know, maybe. So I didn't do it because, well, I don't really know what he was going for exactly. I would probably, if it were mine, make a lube them. I haven't really played with Gap Blacks though, not lubed. And the initial, like, I built all my documentation that way for it, so by the time I actually got around to it, based on our initial conversation, I had built all the documents that I used for building. I went back and reread through the Reddit conversations where we communicated, and I was like, oh shoot, well I didn't lube them already, so I was like, well, I guess they're not getting lubed. But it's okay. I think they're gonna be fine. And I don't want them to be like way more, because if I do linears with 205 grade 0, and I did his, because we had discussed specifically what I would use, so I used 3204 on these, so I didn't want them to be like considerably more sluggish than that, so right, because these are pretty lightly, so I think he's gonna like it anyway. I think it's good. And I wasn't gonna lube the GAT greens, so all the other, yeah, it just didn't make sense. I think this is gonna be good. Okay, so here we go. So many different kinds of switches. So many kinds. While that iron is coming up to temp, although it's basically there now. Yeah, I don't like, these washers are really thick compared to the ones I use. I think the ones I use are right on. Yeah, there's a bunch of extra switches that this guy sent. Customer, if you are watching, you sent me a bunch of extra switches, except ergo clears. Which I understand, you probably only had so many, but it could have been, if more of those had gotten damaged because you shipped them that way. It was close. Only one got the leaf bent. And I did lube that one and try and throw it together, and it just didn't. Like, I bent the leaf back out, and it doesn't actuate the same, so. And I didn't notice that until I actually lubed the switches. Of course, I mean, why would I, right? Oh, you know what we need? To not breathe in solder fumes. How about that? How about that? Anybody notice the volume not doing the thing it's supposed to do again? It sounds good to me. I just want to make sure. Wonder how the Top Clack guys are doing. Are they done yet? Hopefully they're having a good stream. I can't wait to watch it. I love Top Clack. I'm actually happy. I'm almost, well, I mean, I'm going to Seattle, so I'm sure I'll get to meet both Jay and Brian in person, which is going to be super cool. Take the first train to California, huh? It's overrated. I mean, I live here though, so maybe I'm biased. Good song though, I think. Kelly got all that good food though. Oh, see, that's true, man. How about that DCS Alps set? Death and Revival. Oh yeah. Wait. Did it get revived? Is it actually? I thought they were saying that it wasn't gonna happen because the stems or whatever, like they'll not make it anymore. I haven't been watching the news BBB on that, apparently. I've been way out of the loop this last like month and a half in terms of news, man. Feels bad, but like work is just, you know, literally taking precedence over all things. Like it has to. You're right though about the food. I want to make sure everybody knows we do have the best food. Tombury initially said that Signature Plastic said no. Then he said Simples came out alright, or they'd be willing to do it. Granted, font most likely won't be changed, but Alpset is Alpset. Yes, I'm cool with it, man. Cool with it. I want it. Will buy Alpset. Alps DCS happening. I honestly would be okay with DSA though. Like if they didn't want to do DCS and then they wanted to do DSA instead because of whatever internal thing it is that they've got going on, I'd be fine with that too. I really would. Somebody's probably from Wisconsin. Yeah, it turns out we do have the best food in California. I mean, Wisconsin, yeah, whatevs. California, food. He's just right. Okay, cool. It's all fixed in place. Making sure everything looks like it's seated properly. Everything looks good. Learned my lesson. Shoko. Yeah, Shoko for the win, dude. For real. Oh, I didn't. Let me get all the stabilized keycaps in there, or switches in. And I'm gonna test them and make sure that it all works out the way I want it. Helps if I can line it up right. BRB, guys. Like, literally just a second. Or a minute. Something. Is that for real? The 7U spacebar isn't in there, it's in the other kit. Okay, fine. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Ah! It's weird that the 7U is in here. Is it? Yeah, I believe it is. Crazy talk. Oh, is there no white 7U? No, there is. Whew. I was like, what? No, because this is the Space Keys kit. I was like, that doesn't make any sense, guys. Space Keys kit. And then this is just the accents. And the space bars that came with it. I'm wrong. I don't know why I pulled out the shorter one, like an idiot. Like, not the long white one. I'm just derping. Boys and grills. What you gonna do? Crisis averted. Okay, cool. Cool. Shoko for the win. Oh no, where'd he go again? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go, boys? Just making it easy on myself. Yarp. Cool. Everything lines up like we would expect. Monka shake? What the oh, am I shaking the camera? Sorry. Is that what it was? I probably... So, there's a monitor pole with like 3 monitors that go up above the back of the desk. And then... Oh, when I was gone? Oh. Anyway. Well, I'm going to explain it now anyway. So there's a monitor here. Right in front of me, and then there's a monitor here, monitor up and up. They're both above in parallel line. 1 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and right between those 2 monitors on the top, there's a pole that comes out just above the lower monitor, and then near the top of the pole that makes like a triangle, and then there's a quick mount plate that's mounted that holds this camera. And so, well, my main rig has 3 monitors in a line. Anyway, so basically, this camera is mounted and it's attached to the desk. So if I can move the desk, I can make it flex a little bit. Sorry, if I do that, it's usually an accident. It wasn't that time, but you know, that was for demonstration purposes. So now you learned something about my setup that you probably didn't care about. No. Don't touch your hand to the burning thing. That's what I just learned. This is the right exact position for me to get my hand like directly in the warm lead. It wasn't that bad actually. It didn't like burn. No smell of burned flesh. Or anything crazy. Alright, so now we're going to populate this board. Yeah, 3 monitors is, I don't know, it's not OP. Honestly, 3 is the right number, IMO. Yep, that whole top row is blacks. Deuteron blacks. Populate the center portion first. gonna be an interesting looking, colorful board when it's all said and done. And doesn't have keycaps on it. So yeah, I don't work a ton with Excel, though I have gone through bouts of it. I actually just find 3 monitors useful because I can like Discord on one panel, game in my middle monitor, and then on the other panel I can have like some kind of like website up or explanation of something, map or something for some games, whatever, you know, stuff. Need that screen real estate to make it happen. But you're right with Excel too. If you're working with a bunch of data, especially if you're comparing multiple Excel spreadsheets or data on more than one. I don't do a ton of that anymore in my life. I do find it, however, easy for when I build like quotes for customers and stuff too, because I can have like the Reddit conversation up, tracking sheet thing that I have, and then be building their quote. Though frankly, sometimes I do that when I'm mobile on my lap or on a Chromebook, so I just switch back and forth a bunch in tabs. Wouldn't be justification for getting 3 monitors if I only had one. If I was into flight sim or something, it'd be cool to have like wraparound. I mean, my monitors are kind of in a wraparound configuration right now. Kind of. I'm confused. Where else did he want? Oh, that's it. Just the alphas. Okay, so I guess there were extras and I didn't need to leave the other one. I didn't even think about it. I just counted the number that he said there was going to be. I didn't even think about... Whatever. There's some extra lubed ones now. Totally. Or someone decided to make a shitty spreadsheet with too many rows and columns. Yeah, well, that'd be neat. Yeah, so people do sometimes make shitty spreadsheets that are like that. But a lot of times when spreadsheets are that big, in my experience, it's actually because there's just that much information. Or they're not really for human consumption. That's happened to me in my work, previous work lives, where like it's actually made to be exported as a CSV, entered by humans, and then read by a computer, like a script or something. I've written stuff like that, where there's like a ton of tabs, and all those tabs have like a ton of information on them, but they're made to like be filled in once and then just processed by a computer somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. You're right. Some spreadsheets suck. Okay, here's what I don't understand, right? Have any of you ever used Access? Because I've used Access before. Every time I've used Access, it started out with a small amount of data, and then it was like, oh, this is just a little bit too much data to just, you know, hand hack in a spreadsheet or whatever. So we'll make an access database. Unilaterally, it's been a mistake. I should have just made a SQL database. Like, instead of trying to use spreadsheets. Like, by the time you get to enough data to where you're like, oh, questioning it, like, should I just, you know, do this? The answer is, or should I just do access? The answer is no, skip that. Go straight to SQL database with a web front end. Crappy data design that should actually be in a database, but the people were making it weren't technically savvy enough to get it there. I don't know. I feel like if you're technically savvy enough to make an access database well, unless you just are in that weird niche case where your organization needs a bunch of access work, and then like you've been working with it for a long time, so you're just proficient with it. If you're smart enough to figure out access and use it and do all the database stuff, you could just do a SQL database. Like, learning it wouldn't be, it's not trivial, but it's not gonna be too much for you to just do, right? Now the web front end might be. Because, you know, that's a thing. That web development gig where you can be real bad at it, but it'll show. It'll show for real. It is easy, but good practices while using it are not necessarily intuitive to some people sometimes. Maybe I'm dating myself here, but do you remember GeoCities? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, because you're too young to know what GeoCities was or remember it, you know, just Google that shit. I'm sure there's screenshots of garbagey neon green background pages that scroll on for a day. Just mad content in the body, like written static text. Or like really bad frames work. It's beautiful. Oh, and Angel Fire, yeah, oof, dirty. HTML, CSS is the devil, but dude, Lycos. I love it. You guys are bringing up all the other ones. I just brought up one. All right. So clearly you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know, man. People can be real bad with HTML. Yeah, I would skip. Maybe skip looking those up. It's gonna be bad. You're just gonna find trash. Makes me feel bad that I said that. Somebody's gonna go there and be like, yeah, man, this looks awesome. I'm gonna have a whole new generation of shitty web developers. Joking. I don't know, things have just gotten so much better, honestly, and the WYSIWYG editors now are like really good. So like people can make decent, I'm not saying they're like as good as having somebody build a pro website. They are not. But they're just, the tools out there are way better than they ever were in the past. For novices, but still good web design. Like, depending on what you're doing. If you're making like a simple blog or something, sure, go to, you know, one of the big, I'm not going to name one because they like sponsor everybody in the world. I'm not sponsored, I'm not trying to be necessarily, maybe one day, but just not where I'm at right now. Not looking for it, so I won't name them. But there's like some big ones, right, where you can just set up a blog super quick with their WYSIWYG editors, and it's like boom, done. Okay, never mind. Heine already talked about it. All right, fine. AOL CDs made great coasters. Okay, so here's the thing. Me and my friends, my family, we would like take all those AOL CDs and Netscape CDs and all the things that everybody would send, right? Like, and we would store them on big spindles back in the day, right? And I would literally have wars with my friends inside my house where we would throw CDs at each other and they'd shatter on the walls and stuff. The intent for my family was to save them as coasters, but I'd always just like make a complete mess with them and then clean them up every now and then. It was like some of the best fun ever. This is a thing you would like never do now, right? People would be like, why are you throwing all these CDs? Oof. Burned my finger again. On a hot, well, not burned, but just got it real warm. Uncomfortably warm. Every now and then. Well, every now and then, because, you know, we had to wait until there was like a couple hundred CDs to make it worth doing it. Back in the day, right, they would have those like CDs on counters and places like Blockbuster and stuff, you know, way back. And we would, like friends and I, later when we got a little bit older, we would like, when we go into a place like that, we just take like all of them. Because they're free, so like clerks wouldn't care, right? They just take like the whole thing, just the box of all the CDs. It was great. So we could have them more often. But no, when I was really young, it would be every now and then. Well, when I was really young, no one really had CDs. I mean, they existed, but no one really had them. So like once a month. Oof. Not at one point, yeah, it was probably that often. where me and friends were just like taking a bunch of them so we could have CD wars. But you know, like by then we could get around, like going to stores on our own and stuff. Our parents wouldn't have been cool with us taking, mine wouldn't have been, like just grabbing the whole box of CDs if they were there. But like, I don't know if anyone really ever used those, especially not where I lived, right? Like I had DSL in 1997 at my house. We had like wickedly high-speed internet for the time where I lived. Just happened to be like, you know, one of the places that really early on got high-speed internet. Manager, what happened to the CDs? Clerk, nerds. Truth. That is, in fact, probably what happened. Yeah. Manager, what kind of nerds took the AOL CDs? There's DSL here. Yeah, no, clerks didn't care at stores like that. Not about that, anyway. But I mean, it said free. So it was even like stealing, you know? It said literally like free. Take me or something like on the cover of it. It's like, well, I did. I took each one of the ones that said take me on it. Okay. We're getting there, guys and girls. People folk. How many of these do we have left? Man, we're like almost done with this part. Still gotta do LEDs, but... I like this song. This is a good song. I know we've heard it before because it's on a list of all the different songs on this service that I've liked. Because that is in fact what we're listening to, but okay. There's a couple. And right. Raccoons. Because they are shiny. Yes, that's true. It's true. And didn't specify a limit. They should have specified limits on those. On those CDs. Okay. We're gonna come back to that soldering iron in a minute, but for the moment, okay, plugged in, switch hittered up. Okay, so now we are going to test okay. So Q and W do things, right? So what we're going to do is we know that the anode on these is labeled to be Okay, so control enter is something that we don't want, or function enter. It's probably like DFU mode or something. Yeah, that's almost certainly what that is, right? I just want to find out what turns the LEDs on if there's a default. Ooh, okay. Perfect. So we know those LEDs are on now. And we do know that the anode on those is the round pad. And the anode on these, let me make sure caps lock is on too. The anode on these is the square one. Weird. Whatever, guys. Verified. Now we can test all of our LEDs. Don't need to worry about this. So anodes all go that way. All right. Favorite part of any build. JK lol. Well, that's irritating. I forgot. The bottom row is always like a little wonky because you have so much compatibility that they share anodes usually. In this case, they do. So like different switch positions will share. In this case, they actually share, yeah, anodes, which I think is more common probably. The nerds yoinketh. The Nords yeeteth away. CDs. TSC. I think you're right. Nerds rule the world. And we do yeeteth and yoinketh. And it's so hard for me to like get used to anodes being the circular pad. It's like so awkward for me. Well, we're gonna do our fancy patented flipperoo trick. That's what we're calling it now. I'm joking. We're not calling it that. Anyway. So we did the flipperoo. Iron's cold. Iron is over 600, so warm enough. What are you guys' preferred soldering temps? I'm wondering. Heine, if you're still in the chat, what do you usually solder manually at? Not like skillet temps or rework, but... Or anyone, really. What are your preferred temps? With 6337, in case anyone's asking or wondering. With leaded solders. 320C. Because your iron kind of sucks. Oh, like it's too low power and it can't keep up? What do you mean? So I'll forever be more the flipperoo maneuver. Hot enough to melt the solder and cold enough to not set the building on fire. Yes. 573.15. Is that a joke about absolute zero? You doubt that it actually holds it. Okay, sure. I mean, mine might not even hold or be calibrated at least correctly. It probably... I don't know what kind of thermocouple is in there, but I'm guessing it's like a K-type or something. It's probably a decent thermocouple. Decent enough. But it is a cheap iron. Mine was 60 bucks, I think, so it's like... Maybe it's not a really great thermocouple, but I'm sure it's pretty close. But I'm sure that the digital readout on mine is consistent at least. Paco 951. Yeah. Okay. What is 310C in Fahrenheit? Bink. Yeah, I'm soldering considerably hotter than that. I'm doing like 380 or 390 usually, I think. I just flipped mine to C. But for stuff like this, I should actually turn it down. Not for switches, but for that. But I'm kind of trying to pick a happy medium between leaded solder and unleaded solder as I mess with other boards. So I find that 740F seems to work pretty well for me all around. But with leaded solder, this will absolutely work lower. I try not to like keep my iron on a pad for very long though. So I don't show you guys that I work on OEM boards sometimes for people that much. I do sometimes, but there's repair work that I do that I don't stream, and so like that. This is really like a happy medium for me. Oh, that's irritating. Planning to get a Hack on 951. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've played with the 951, so I don't know. Or maybe I have and I just don't know the model number. I don't know why I did that. That was a mistake. I mean, it's not a big one, but case I had to replace them. Because sometimes the LEDs are bad in a batch. Just FYI, you guys should always check them before you do this. Normally, I think I solder like the whole board and then I go all crazy, but so those all work. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen the 951. Maybe I have. And it was all that way still, right? Yep. Okay. Had to make sure. You know, the funny thing is these these Ergo Clears are not getting, are not going to get LEDs because the tops that customer chose with them do not support LEDs and switch LEDs. So we're gonna put them in all the ones that support it, and then customer can decide what he wants to do. I actually think that's probably fine because you'll have glow around them, around the edge. It'll still look good. And they can be turned off if he just doesn't like them. I actually am looking at getting a Hacko 888 probably. Or something else. Some other really nice, not really nice, but decent iron. This one is decent. It's well rated. It just, I want another slightly better iron, and then I'll have this one as a backup. I may honestly try and find something. Heine, I'm guessing the 951 has a pump in it. I may actually try and find something that has a pump in it, built in. And then I'll have not only a backup iron, but a backup desolder pump. And that would be pretty useful for me because of the work that I do building customer boards or whatever. Like, it'd be nice to have a backup because I would want to freaking die if I had to resort to wick. Like, I would probably postpone a build and order a new desolder pump if that were the case, frankly. I would be pretty unhappy with the situation if that were what was going down. Pretty unhappy with it. Do 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 do. This customer's build have what I'm gonna look is, you know, I'm all sorts of curious. I don't really remember the customer's quote reflecting that, I guess. Like, in my head, it doesn't really jive that there was in-switch LEDs all over. So I want to make sure he didn't just want indicators. With how meticulous he was. Ooh, let's get rid of that. I don't know why that's not working. What is grabbing focus? Weird. Something wrong with this board all of a sudden? I don't think there could be. Randomly. Cable maybe? No? I am... Oh, I know what's up. Scroll lock is on? Yeah. No, numlock? The switch hitter is detecting stuff. Okay. Something is capturing my keystrokes and making it all weird. Hey, you sent me something. I am not sure what's happening. Weird. That was really strange. Okay, now I don't even know what I was... Oh, yeah, I know what I was doing. Sorry about that, guys. I was super awkward. It's like Alt was pressed somehow, but continuously locked down. Super, super awkward. Need to check something real quick. Go to my messages on Reddit. LEDs. LEDs, yeah, okay, so I don't see... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this board, customer does not, in fact, want all those LEDs done. So I'm actually going to undo those. Because he said he wanted just those other LEDs. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me, because the quote didn't seem like it included that. Alrighty then. Well, I'm actually not going to undo those because we know that we can turn those off. So he'll have bottom row LEDs if he wants them. If he wants them. I don't know, we'll turn it on and see how we like it. Done. Now the default is off. Oh well. Don't think there's any reason to remove them since they turn off and now they're off by default. Okay, this build just got much quicker because we're not going to do all those LEDs. Maha! I had to look, I was like, that doesn't make sense. But this part. So guys, I am going to show you how to line up, how to line these bad boys up. So this is pretty easy. So anybody who hasn't done this before, basically what we're going to do is we're going to take these LEDs right here. Positive anode goes that direction now. So we're going to take these, we're going to put the anode's all like this. They're going to rest against the little, right where my fingertip is, there's like a little bump out on them. So when I put these in there, they're actually going to kind of stand up on their own. You usually could push past that just a little bit, like that's thin enough to fit through the hole on the PCB, but we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is this, right? And then we're going to set this top over the board, just like you'd expect. Right, and then we're going to kind of push it in so it finds itself. It's going to seat into that hole. We could actually leave it up if we wanted to. And it would be fine. I'm actually going to set it on this ridge line right there because I want that top and this to support the edge of the board so the plate falls down into its height, and I'm just going to hit this anode leg just a tiny little bit like we do all the others. Right, now we're going to do this. Okay. And we're going to so we have all three of those on. We're going to throw this top on. Oh, it's real dim. I think I know what's going on here with these, actually. I'm actually using these kind of like pliers. We don't want those ones to be down, apparently. I want them to be more upright because I think they may be a little bit brighter. Yeah, and they are just a little bit brighter. So that's perfect. So we're done with those. Good. We're gonna cut those. We're gonna mount this, and then it's done. We're gonna throw some keycaps on, boys and girls. Oh man. All right, perfect. I'm gonna mount this board now. The extra screws that they, well, not extra, but there may be extra, I don't know. There are, in fact, a couple extra screws in here. Maybe not. Oh, it mounts to the bottom. Okay, perfect. That actually makes sense because there's a hole for the USB-C in here. It makes sense that it mounts to the bottom. Okay. There we go. So there's a countersink in these, and these screws aren't countersunk screws. So that's another little kind of nick against KBD fans. If you guys are gonna try and compare this to really high-end boards out there that are considerably more pricey, it's like poor hardware choices, right? Mounting hardware choices for this board. You know, it's an interesting mounting system though. I don't think, even though this is bottom mount, it's not tray mount. I don't think this is fundamentally much different than most top mount solutions in terms of how it'll feel. It might be a little bit different, but not much. Oh, why didn't I do this corner first? I'm a fool, that is why. You're gonna want to be careful if you guys ever get one of these, right? Because, again, the thread pitches are high, the screw hole size is small, so it'll be really easy to strip these. I'm careful with how I torque them down. Very light torque. These all look like the same screw. So if you kind of look at how I do these things, I seat the top to the bottom by holding it kind of like this. I back the thread out just a little bit to make sure that it hooks in there. And I get it. Oh, man, that actually goes in just a tiny little bit. Tighten it and just loosen it a tiny little bit. Right, so it's easy to seat it because you can hear it. Gotta be real careful with this. Okay. I want to make sure this top is all lined up. This is another thing with cheaper boards that sometimes... Actually, this one lines up really well. But if you noticed, I backed them all out a little bit earlier from their tightest position. And it was really to be able to check and make sure that the top was flush on all the corners before we tightened everything up. Okay. What's kind of funny? Sorry, me? You're building my PCB watching my stream? That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. So yeah. So we got all these, we got all these. Okay, and that's it, guys. So that is an assembled one. And like I told you before, I was actually going to be curious about its weight. So it's fully assembled weight for the record, for comparison in the future to the KBT Advance 2 or Mark II, 5 pounds, 2 ounces. That is a pretty decently heavy board. It's got some heft. That is awesome, dude. That is freaking hilarious, honestly. Okay, well, now what we're going to do is I'm going to throw all these LEDs back in. I'm going to clean this up a little bit so I can get this blue mat off here. Mute the sound, throw some keycaps on here before I mute the sound. Then we'll do a little typing test. And then I'll be out of your guys' hair for the night. So everybody can get ready for, you know, whatever they got going on tomorrow. For me, that's work. Blech. Oh well. Not bleh. I like my job, but, you know. Heiny, I saw your message a couple minutes ago and on Discord, and I didn't, I just looked at it a few minutes ago, rather. I'm sure you sent it a while ago. I didn't look at the time. But the answer is no. To this point, I have not. done that thing. But very likely it'll happen at some point in the next year. But not on that timeline. Sorry, guys. Not trying to keep secrets. Secrets don't make great friends or anything, but... it happened. Alright, so I was going to ask you guys what set you guys want to see on this board. And I'll show kind of whatever. But I do have Shoko out. Just, you know, in case that's a thing you want to see on here. And as a teaser, this is what it would look like. Kind of. I actually think surprisingly it would go well with this. Maybe not that well though. Whatever. Kind of hard to see. Fully assembled Sans keycaps. Yes, it is indeed. It is indeed TSC. Careful with that mobile viewing though. Don't want anyone to hurt themselves. You know, in case you're driving or something. Sure you're being safe. I just want everybody to be safe. Anyway, so yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for which keycaps you would like to see on it, I'll consider that. Otherwise, I'll probably throw Shoko on it because I want to see it. Actually, that Borealis set would look good on this keyboard. Anyway. No? No takers? Alright, I'm throwing Shoko on there. Oh, did you say yes, TSC? Did you say yes, that's what you want to see? You're like the only one I would take that suggestion from, since they're your caps. Was that a yes or no? These keycaps actually have shine on them, right? Is that what you want? You have to be the one to say yes to that. I don't know if this one, if you had stepped caps lock, if the set even had stepped caps lock. I do actually have 9009. I have, but not GMK. I have, oh, do I have it for HBCP? I don't have GMK. I have EPBT 9009. And actually the board that it's on right now, I don't care about at all. So yeah, if that's what you want. Yeah, see, I don't know if this Borealis set, did you have... Yeah, so there's no 7-use spacebar with this. So I guess we're kind of showing it off a little bit though, either way. But I'm not going to be able to put it all on there, unfortunately. Because you have the ANSI or whatever. So I'll just put a few caps on there for a second so it can be seen. This is what the colorway would look like. This is what the colors will look like. And it would actually look like really good with this set. Yeah, this is a 625U spacebar, and so you're not gonna have the 1.5 stuff either to support the mods on this. So unfortunately it will not be that. But I will show it off like that. This is actually a really pretty set. What I think would be really cool with this set is that you would get some shine through, because the... Yeah, there's gonna be light shine through on these keycaps. It's actually kind of a cool set. It's like the only good set I've ever seen that has shine through. Does anyone think? I'm gonna have to put it up. Sorry, because it doesn't support. Boo. Does anybody know of any other shine through keycaps that are good? like at all. I've never seen them a good shine through set other than this. And even this, I think you have to kind of be into it. They do glow in the dark, yeah. That's my understanding. They glow, but they're also somewhat translucent. Looking at it, like I can look at it through this light right here. They're not gonna glow a lot, but it'll be mild if you have really bright LEDs behind there. Like you will see it. I don't know, I have customers who are pretty new sometimes hit me up and ask me, like, oh, you know, I want this kind of LEDs and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I mean, have you thought about what kind of keycaps you're gonna get? Because they want the shine through legends. And like, no, not at all, what would you recommend? And I'm like, I don't recommend any keycaps for that thing. No. So the double shot plastic that's used to make the legends on this set is shine through. Like, it's glow in the dark, the plastic, and it will show a little bit of shine through if you use LED, in-switch LEDs. Anyway, Shoko it is. Because no one had better recommendations. So that's what we're doing. And I haven't ever mounted it, and I kind of want to. I want to see it. I want to see it on a board finally. Glow in the dark would be awesome. And that's okay, because you're going to have it. It won't be very bright though. The shine through won't be bright. It really, the plastic is made for glow in the dark, not shine through. I think it's awesome that you're building my PCB, Heine. That's freaking amazing. It really is. I like couldn't be happier with the way that is worked out. Yeah, this has been a pretty quiet stream, honestly. The last couple have been. I think it's because I've been pretty irregular about my stream time. I need to be more regular about it. I just have too much travel stuff for work to be super regular, unfortunately, right now. Like, next week I'll be able to stream, but the week after I won't, because I'm out of town. I don't have travel planned after that for a little bit though. So I should be good for a few weeks. So I'm actually about to start taking more orders, post on Mech Market again to get some more orders going. Because like I said, this is the last customer build I have for a little bit. I mean, that I have on hand right now. So the next couple boards that I build will be mine. I'll do a chores episode here or there because I have some Alps stuff to desolder, to harvest for that I want to have on hand. Then I'll have my own KBD87 Mark II and in polycarb, and some other people have already hit me up for theirs when theirs comes, like, hey, I need you to do it. I'm giving them quotes, etc. So you know how it is. Trying to make time for my own builds too in my building schedule. And because I've been out of town a bunch, I don't have like enough time to really make up extra builds for a little bit. So it's like trying to make sure that I have some of my builds complete at some point too. Otherwise, why would I be in the hobby, right? If I never wanted to build my own. But I will post again and get more business. I'm a little reluctant to do it because I know that when I do it, it'll be like probably the floodgates, which is what normally happens. Not that I don't like that, just again, gotta build my builds. Yeah, I think this is gonna look great on this board, frankly. It'll look fantastic. Shoko is an amazing board, or an amazing key set. I know that they had like a hard time hitting MOQ. There's one other set that I didn't jump on that I think is gonna be really nice that I didn't get in on, that had a hard time hitting its MOQ, which is GMK Lime, or at least I think it did. Because you can still buy it as a pre-order on Kono, and I think they do that when they have to like cover sets to get it to MOQ, or you could order it that way recently. I don't know if you still can, but so the question is to use these blue ones or to use any of the accent keys. Because the accent keys kind of look nice for this board. Let me pull them off. Let me see what that would look like, right? I have a feeling it might not look better on this purple color. Might be too colorful. Yeah, I actually think it's too colorful. Adjust my... Okay, I'm gonna turn this down for a second. Yeah, I don't know. Oof, sorry, I don't have commands enabled like that. This is a KBD 8X round 2, not Mark 2. In purple, obviously. With well, with all sorts of stuff. With ergo clears on all the alphas, GAT blacks out here, and then an entire row of GAT greens. I'm gonna do this. It'll look okay. I guess I need to set up Nightbot or something and have a build command. Or just be willing to tell everybody all the time. Joking. I'll set it up. You wanted the 8X. You wanted the 8X round, or Mark II, I'm guessing? Is that what you're talking about when you say they sold out? Or did you want a Mark I? Or round, whatever this thing is called? I'm curious because I actually got in on the Mark II in polycarbonate, and I'm super excited for it. In fact, earlier today I bought the silencing kit or damping kit or whatever. Oh, this is GMK Shoko. These are my keycaps, not the customer keycaps though. Yeah, this is surprisingly good. I'm really looking forward to the Mark II because I know it'll be better, you know? Yeah, we're gonna do a typing test here in a second. I personally, while I'm excited about this board, it's really nice. It's really, really good. I'm more excited for this board so that I can compare it to the ones that I deal with in the future, the Mark IIs. Yarp. Okay. Okay. We'll do this Firefox deal. And we will mute this. Pause it. All right, are you guys ready? You guys ready for a typing test? I'm not that fast of a typist, as you guys sometimes know. We'll get this closer. Maybe not quite that close. The poly, because Case used poly screws also. It definitely doesn't use poly screws. I'm sure it uses steel or aluminum. Well, not aluminum. Steel probably. Maybe zinc plated. I don't know. I'm guessing they didn't use anything super fancy. But I think it has inserts though. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. I'll let you know though when I build it. You should watch the stream and then you'll see. Anyway, so before we go all crazy, so those are all gap blacks around here. These are all ergo clears. And then these are all gat greens. Yeah, man, definitely watch. I don't know when it'll be because so supposedly that board launches middle of this month. I think that's what they said. We'll ship out middle of this month. I may ship out later. I'm not 100% sure. I'm also not sure that the polycarb ones will ship out at the same time, but we'll see. Oh, caps lock is on. Redo. Okay. Oh my god, redo again. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully oh my god. That was bad. Feels bad. I feel super slow. I mean, I am 60. Man, I don't know. I think the fastest I've probably ever gotten on here is like 80 while watching with live viewers at least. But either way, I'm not the fastest. Especially now, man. I've been traveling so much and stuff, and I've been in meetings. I've like typed almost not at all this week. I need to start practicing. Oh, let's pause that one more time. Pause, and then you guys can hear. Okay, we're gonna close that. No, close. We're gonna start over again. Anyway. Wait, it's the switches. Oh yeah, it's all the switches' fault. It's totally the switches' fault, guys. Not mine at all. No, actually it's nice. It's nice. I got no problem with it. So none of these mods are lubed, only the alphas. They're lubed ergo clears. These are gap blacks, a single mod SH here, gat green, all gat greens, all blacks. It's weird. It's a weird layout, or it's a weird distribution of switches, but nice. Honestly, this board is very nice. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of almost all of the stuff that KBD Fans makes. Not all of it, and I have had some issues with them in the past, and this board has some minor flaws, like I talked about before. In my opinion, flaws. Technically, it's functional, just like the screw diameters. The screw diameters are small, both what holds the plate to the bottom and what holds the bottom to the top. Small diameter and really too tight of a thread pitch. But other than that, this board is great. Here, I'm gonna pause that again because listen to this. Customer gave me the option of choosing whether or not to lube the gap blacks, and honestly, with the exception of these switches right here, maybe these ones, I actually think that these mods feel really nice, and that lubing them would have made them feel less consistent actually with the ergo clears in the middle. Yeah, so I've personally had some screw issues with them. Like stripping screws or stripped screws, or screw hole depth not being right and or threading not being done, but only with one board realistically. So I think it was a defect. But it would be incredibly easy to strip the screws that come with this board. It would be very, very, very easy. BBB came back to see the final product. Easy, all according to plan. Yeah, I did put this whole bottom row. I did put LEDs in it, not just the indicators, which is what the customer had asked for. So because it's on a function layer, the backlighting, I just disabled them. I didn't remove them. So he has this row with LEDs. It doesn't matter because if anybody ever goes to remove those switches or those LEDs, they'd have to remove those. Pretty straightforward. I think it's fine. Plus, it gives you like an indication that it came on and stuff if all of your stuff is off. Because when you plug it in, you see it go blip. Yeah, so this is great. This is actually nice. What did we say? Was it 5 pounds, 2 ounces or something like that all together? Without caps on? I don't know what it is with caps, but that's not relevant. I will say that I actually like cat greens for clickies, for MX clickies. And Shoko does look nice on it. Great board. All right, well, I'm gonna pack it up for the night. We're going a little under 3.5 hours. I appreciate all of you guys. The plate was aluminum, and it's a fixed plate with the exception of the bottom row and ANSI enter, or ISO enter support. I mean, I guess there was a couple other places where there wasn't fixed, so here and here, but a lot of it was fixed and it was tight. Like there's only one layout here. Wasn't switch top removal or anything like that. It was definitely aluminum. The finish looked nice. The whole board looks nice. and I hope that the customer loves it. Yeah, I don't know. I would buy one of these at the price that they were. I think they were like $255. I want to say something like that, $225 maybe plus shipping. So you're looking at under $300 for the kit that this was. Pretty good. Pretty good. I think so. I ordered almost the most expensive set of options you could with the KBD87 R2. I ordered the numpad with it. I ordered this. I ordered, or the main thing, obviously, with TKL. I ordered a brass plate and what was the other plate material? Polycarbonate or something like that. Ordered that. And even with all of that, I think shipped, it was still under 550 or 500 maybe even. It was 500 dead and then like 550 with the shipping or something like that. Either way, like an almost unbeatable price, right? For the quality of board, for the way that it is. I mean, if they have increased the quality from this, then it'll be amazing. So the only gripes that I have about this board, legitimate gripes, the screw holes are too small. The thread pitch is too tight. The depth that the screws in here sink down in is too deep, because even on my notch set, the shank on this goes right up to the edge. Like this fatter part right here, like the hexed part, just barely fits in that hole and would scrape it if it went any deeper. So, I mean, I guess for me, that means I just need to get a set of Weehaws with like really deep narrow shanks. But either way, your regular average Joe isn't going to have that. This board had this one, where it's actually not that deep on the front, already done. It looks like maybe a tiny thin. Yeah, that actually looks like maybe a minor anode defect or something on the board. Yeah, that's from probably however it was processed. It's something on it. I'll clean that off. In case it was introduced here. Though I don't think it is, because it's a sticky thing, not a... Lube would be the only thing that could get on a board here that would be lube or flux, I guess, but... There we go. Remove. No? Almost like it needs like goo gun, whatever that is. Anyway. Definitely not a defect. So that, and then these edges right here are not broken. They're quite sharp. Like if you hit your hand hard enough on that, it would actually cut you. Like you can see right there that there's like a little crease line there temporarily. Yeah, there's a crease line there because of that. That line right there is actually just a mar on the skin, right? Because I hit it that hard. So now that one has one. Right? I didn't hit it hard enough with the heel. I'm not going to. I'm not going to bang on the board too much. But anyway, point is, those are sharp edges. Those are literally the only complaints I could have with this board. They're minor. You're not really moving your board around. You're not taking the top on and off very much. So as long as you set it all up right, it's just gonna be okay. Yeah, so these are all clickies, and this is a clicky. These and all the other mods are Gatoron Blacks, and then these are lubed Ergo Clears as the alphas. Self-defense board, yeah, totally. Yeah, anyway, I really do like the quality of the board. I really do like the board. All the gripes that I could have about the board are pretty mitigated by how cheap these boards actually are, or were. Sorry, that's probably really loud. The mic's pretty close to there. I'll stop that. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I still am a big fan of KBD fan stuff. But if they're trying to step up into the world of customs and they're trying to compete with other customs, I'm going to criticize them on that playing field. that this board definitely is attempting to get into that realm, or did when it was made. It succeeds mostly. It doesn't succeed in those areas that I talked about, but the price, totally good for it. Like, totally makes up for it. So excited to see what the Mark II looks like when it comes. I have a feeling it's going to be really good. I'm going to do a customer's who I think when he gets his is going to be E-white, and then mine is going to be polycarb. So it's going to be harder to compare the polycarb one to this. And the E-white one will have a different finish. So another customer did hit me up about another one. I don't remember what color it was. I think I gave him a quote, but it wasn't like a guaranteed. Like, he wasn't like, yeah, we're gonna do this for sure. It's like, I'll see when it comes. But the guy with, I think, the E-white one said, yeah, we're definitely gonna do this when it comes. So I'll definitely end up doing a Mark II in those two colors, well, in E-white and transparent. I hope you guys liked the stream. I enjoyed chatting with you guys. I enjoyed having you guys here. Please feel free to, you know, follow or whatever, so you guys get notifications when I go live next. My normal nights are Wednesdays, for anybody that isn't used to it, are Wednesdays at 6:30, not Thursdays. I try not to do Thursdays because it interferes with Top Clack, and I like watching Top Clack, so, you know, there's that. Go on dates, do something on Thursdays. Anyway, yeah, I will catch you guys later. Thank you so much, and I'm out, guys.